What is going on, Raider Nation? So I really want to talk about veteran defensive tackle Johnathan Hankins here and why he's really going to be fighting for a roster spot on this 2022 Las Vegas Raiders defensive line. Now look, the Raiders have obviously made it an issue to go out and get a Bilal Nichols, go draft a Matthew Butler, and go get a Neil Farrell Jr. And Neil Farrell Jr. is that kind of player that I want to talk about that I could really see being this long-term replacement for Johnathan Hankins. So starting with Johnathan Hankins, look, this is a guy that gave you 20 total tackles last year, which placed him at 74th among all defensive linemen. He finished with the 46.9 PFF grade and offered you 0 sacks. And look, I understand PFF isn't the end-all be-all, especially at that defensive line, especially with a guy who specializes in run defense. So I understand if he's offering you no sacks. I know those PFF numbers might be skewed a little bit, but look, to be honest with you, if I'm keeping it a buck, I really think that even his run defense is kind of taking a decline with this last year. And you could say that that's coaching staff. You could say whatever you want, health. But look, the fact of the matter is he's 30 years old. He's coming off an injury, and the Raiders have kind of flooded that defensive tackle room. And there's one prospect individually that I kind of want to talk about, and that's defensive tackle Neil Farrell Jr. out of LSU. Now, this is a kid who's bigger than Hank, faster than Hank, and younger than Hank, and he can really come in and offer you something else that Johnathan Hankins can't offer you, and that's a little bit of juice when it comes to pass rush. I know this guy's not going to come in and get 6 sacks or anything like that, but he finished last year with 2 sacks, graded as the #1 run defender in the entire nation, and goes and gets 9.5 tackles for loss, which tells me he's extremely disruptive behind the line of scrimmage. This is a guy who really takes on double teams well. He's a really big clogger, and he has a pretty relentless motor. He doesn't give up on plays, which is something that I really like in his game. So it led me to go watch his one-on-one Senior Bowl tape, O-line versus D-line, where he absolutely dominated, where he really showed good hands, and he has a really good counter spin move that I encourage you guys to go watch. Not only that, but he went up against one lineman in particular that I want to bring to your attention. And I was like, man, who's this kid giving Neil Farrell Jr. all the fits? It was none other than the Raiders' 3rd-round draft pick, Dylan Parham. So I found that really interesting, and it was at the guard position. So Raider Nation, go check that out, which is probably why the Raiders have Dylan Parham playing a lot of guard right now. I think it would be a good fit for him. But let's get back to Neil Farrell Jr. Look, if this kid can come into training camp, if he could put his hard hat on, if he can go into these preseason games and really show you what his skill set is about, maybe offer you some juice, some swagger, some disruption in the middle of that defense, look, this is a kid that's going to push Johnathan Hankins. Now, look, if you want to keep Johnathan Hankins on the back end of the roster to kind of beat out those bottom tier guys, I could understand because Johnathan Hankins is on a team-friendly 1-year, $1.3 million deal, $425,000 of it fully guaranteed. So he's really not killing you against the cap. So you can keep him as an insurance policy. Let him be that vet that kind of coaches up Neil Farrell Jr. I would be all for that. But when it comes to starting reps, I do believe Neil Farrell Jr. will beat out Johnathan Hankins for whatever amount of role or whatever amount of snaps that they were going to allocate to him. So Raider Nation, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you guys like Neil Farrell Jr.? Do you think that this is a prospect that could come in and start over Johnathan Hankins? Let me know what you guys think if you guys have not yet. Subscribe right here to this channel and check out these 2 recently uploaded videos. I really think that you'll enjoy them. And everyone hearing the sound of my voice, man, let the Lord Jesus Christ bless each and every single one of you. And until next time, Raider Nation, just win, baby.